Welcome back to Small Caps, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kerry Stevenson. You all should know that by now. Today, bit of an interesting one. I like this. Heavy minerals. Heavy minerals, the ASX code is HVY. And joining me today is Executive Director and CEO, Nic Matich. Nic, great to see you. And this is different because first time we've had a chat, it's about garnets, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm a girl, so for me, I'm like, oh, garnets. But garnets is not what you think it is. And so, Nic, I'm really pleased to be chatting to you today. Excuse me, COVID brain a little bit here. Talk to me first up, as this is the first time you've chatted to me on Small Caps, garnets. I love the picture behind you. It's fabulous. It's my favourite colour as well. But the garnet industry, talk to me a little bit about what it is, because I thought that was a gemstone and it would be to do with jewellery. But it's not necessarily.
No, thanks, Kerry. I appreciate you having me on, and pleasure to meet you. No, so we're talking about industrial garnet, and the picture behind me is the final product, I guess you'd say. So this is they're quite small. So we're talking tiny little sand particles here, and industrial garnet is, as the name says, is used in heavy industry. The key end uses are for blasting. So, for example, stripping paint or preparing surfaces in heavy industry such as shipbuilding, or in oil exploration and oil development, pipelines and the like, or fracturing underground wells. The other end use, which is becoming probably the more dominant, is in water jet cutting. Now, water jet cutting is where you have a high pressure jet of water that gets garnet particles injected in the side, and it can pretty much cut through anything apart from diamond. The garnet's got a very high hardness, and almandine garnet, which is the type of garnet that we're exploring for, is the premium product in the market. So we've got the worldwide consumption in 2021 was about a million tonnes per annum, and Australia, would you believe, is and will be the largest producer of garnet worldwide for the years to come. And this is all from a little. And are they generally because you're in WA, place called Port Gregory? That's your key focus. Mm-hmm. Where is Port Gregory, and why is that area? I guess because, for example, we all know the Pilbara used to be just iron ore, now it's gold and iron ore. Port Gregory, where is it, and why did the garnets? Why are they there? Oh, okay. So Port Gregory is about probably 100 or so kilometres north of Geraldton, 50 kilometres south of Kalbarri. Okay. I'm not sure if you're familiar with WA, but there's a very nice pink lake, would you believe, right adjacent to us. And the reason for the garnet being there is that the larger hard rock garnet has been washed out from inland down the river systems, and it's been basically concentrated in the water and then washed up and concentrated on sand in what's called strandlines. Our deposit, what we're looking at, is an aeolian deposit. That means that's slightly different. That's where the wind blows the garnet up over the dunes, and you end up with the concentration along the back end of a dune.
Okay.
And that's what our drilling program in 2021 found, and we got some very nice hits going through the eastern side of our frontal dune, and it's fantastic to see all the theory come out in the results.
Well, we're going to talk about the results in a minute, but I think it's also important for our audience to know you only listed in September of last year. Mm-hmm. I'm talking to you in February. That's like a 5-month period, but you've done a lot of work since listing.
Indeed. So we listed. We've done. We hit the ground running. We were on the ball pretty quick with that. We got a drilling rig out there within weeks of listing, and we wrapped everything up at the end of January. We have released all our results from the 2021 program, which we'll go into in a while, and we're very excited. I think we're definitely keen to develop this project pending the scoping study, which we're going to kick off in Q2 after we release our JORC at the end of Q1. So we're really we want to make waves as such. We're here to get this project on the way to development. So.
How big is the area that you have, and are there others around you? Is this, I guess, is this a Garnet province, and is it known to be, or is this a new area that you, I mean, how did you come across this particular area?
Oh, well, for those in the Garnet world, which probably aren't that many, to be honest.
I'm learning. Nic, I'm learning. It's amazing.
No, the world's largest producer of garnet, which is called GMA, they have been operating in the area for many years. They have a deposit which we border. So they've been mining there for over 30 years, I believe. And they sort of have set the standard for quality. And they mine an Almudine alluvial garnet, which is identical. Well, our products, our potential products and style of mineralisation is identical to theirs. RDG, which is another listed company, which is a listed company on the ASX, recently kicked off construction of their Lucky Bay mine, which is to the north of GMA. Yeah, I think they're planning to mine about 130,000 tonnes per year. GMA is about 300,000 odd, I believe. So that's up, in a couple of years, about half the world's garnet's going to be coming from this little area of Port Gregory. It's sort of the hub of the garnet world, which is great to be in. We've got a great spot. We're bordering their mining lease. We've pegged some more ground up and down their exploration licenses, and we have 50 kilometres of land to the south, which is totally greenfields, which we haven't even, we haven't scratched the surface of yet, and that has potential to hold mineralisation as well.
Well, let's talk about what you've done so far, because your results have come out, and you said you've been quoted as saying these results are spectacular. For those of us that don't know the garnet industry, why they've been so spectacular, and talk to us about where you're going with that.
Yeah, sure. We with mineral sands operations, in particular garnet, the grade is king, and with regards to what we've found, we hit upon a mineralized sand package on the eastern side of the frontal dune, and we were seeing grades of up to 17.9%, 11%, anywhere up to 20 meters thick, 200 meters wide, and extending well over a kilometre. So these numbers, on its own, they're fantastic, and that's just one part of the tenure. With when you mine mineral sands, you essentially dig up the entire lot, you take out the heavy fraction, and you put back the
waste, I guess.
Not waste. It's just the top, the normal, the lights, and then you put the topsoil back on top. You take your fraction out. When we initially did our exploration target, we were expecting about a 46% garnet fraction. We're seeing up to 1.5 times that. So we're looking at up to 65 to 75% garnet fraction, and a 10 to 20% ilmenite fraction as well, which is something we weren't expecting to see so high. And so in terms of what we're seeing there, we're very happy. We're with coming up to the JORC resource, the JORC mineral resource release at the end of the quarter. We're very excited. We think we've going to give it a good nudge. Those
results that you're getting, if you compare it to do you compare it to GMA? Are they a higher grade, if you like, of mineral sand to GMA? Number one. And the second part of that question is, why didn't GMA scoop up this area? How did you get your hands on it?
Oh, okay. So GMA's mineralisation isn't known to the market as such. I mean, there are rumblings around it. It's a private company. RDG is probably a better analogy, because they've made some announcements to the market. Some of our high grade zones exceed RDGs. Other areas are analogous to theirs, and some are slightly under theirs. They have a high fraction of garnet in their mineralisation in the heavy mineral. But look, it's all swings and roundabouts. At the end of the day, we'll see what the scoping study delivers. But at the end of the day, we're very happy with what we've seen. We got in thinking there was going to be 46% garnet, and what we're seeing is 1.5 times that, which is fantastic. In regards to how we were able to get this tenure, the exploration target, E75-160, which is the tenure where we were exploring at the moment, or have just finished our drilling campaign, that was previously owned by GMA. They were forced to surrender it, as part of their mining lease and their commitments. Essentially, my understanding, and I'll draw, but this is probably more conjecture than anything, is it wasn't going to change their mine plan for the next 20 years. Right. So if you're going to pay upkeep costs and the like, there's better things to be spending your money on, I guess. So they might be, I'm not sure, but we were very happy. We picked that up, and then we bolted on the southern extension, which is over the same style of geology. It's the same stunal sand accumulations over the Tamala limestone. So same sort of potential, and we'll be getting to there as soon as we can once we arrange land access and POWs.
And how difficult is that land access and other areas that you've got to cover? Are you quite confident? Because this is exploration, I guess, because right now you're going into getting your maiden mineral resource of what you have at the moment, but you'd like to expand that for, I guess, pipeline for future development.
Sure. We've been very successful so far in negotiating land access. We've had, the key stakeholders in the region are all very friendly. We have engaged numerous parties. We're in negotiations at the moment with one landowner in particular at the moment, because we're very keen to get out there, because just from some visual observations, we're pretty confident that there might be something there. But look, I don't want to call it too early, because you never know. But look, I don't think there'll be a drama. Everyone is interested in seeing the region develop. It's there's no in the areas we're interested in looking at. There's no real native title issues. There's no environmental concerns. We're not mining right up to the coast, which is fantastic. We're not mining. We're not going to. There's no potential to mine right up to the coast. The areas we are set back. So I think it's
pretty straightforward
operation.
Yeah, Nic, I'm curious, because you spoke before about the fact that Australia is going to have about 50% of the world's production of the mineral sand, the Garnet mineral sands. Where else do you find this sort of mineral sands?
So South Africa
specifically.
Yeah. So the majority of other production is as a byproduct of traditional mineral sands mining. So South Africa is a large producer. India was a large producer until they banned, I guess, their illegal mining, for want of a better word. A lot of rivers were getting stripped and coastlines were getting stripped, because that's generally where they can be found. China produces quite a bit. They have although it's not an almandine product, it's a hard rock deposit and a different type of garnet. So even though there is at the moment 1 million tons of garnet, a fraction of that is a pyrope garnet, I believe, and that can be displaced by our type of garnet, or the almandine garnet.
And the almandine garnet is the sort of the A grade, is it?
Yes, essentially yes. It's the hardest, so it won't break apart. It can be recycled more times, because essentially, remember, you're talking about a product that's an industrial product. If you can recycle it numerous times, you don't have to pay for more product. The recycling costs are a huge part of any industrial sanding or blasting operation, or water jet cutting operation. The other good thing about garnet is that it's inert. There's no silica in it, so there's no you're not going to end up with OH&S issues. So in confined spaces where this material is often used, you're not going to end up with those OH&S issues where other materials like man-made and synthetic materials that might occur.
I know that I'm kind of going into a sort of a longer term view of this, Nic, but you've given us the picture of there's a maiden resource coming out in March. You've got some exploration going underway. And I guess what I'd like to look at is sort of the big picture, because you're literally only just getting started, having listed in September. What's the news flow look like for 2022, apart from the fact that you're going to have the mineral resource out in March? What can investors, because you've hit all your milestones so far, what's coming up?
So, as I said, we're going to kick off the scoping study in Q2. Now, that will allow us to understand the metallurgy of the materials that we've got up, or the mineralization that we've got in Port Gregory. Once we understand that, we'll have an idea of who we can go and talk to about potential offtakes, on the assumption that the economics stack up, basic economics stack up. And once we've got those, we can start those conversations, we can then start, moving down the road from explorer to potential developer. So I think for now, the key milestones for us are JORC, scoping study, starting conversations, and then a follow-up drilling campaign to really get down into the nitty-gritty of the confidence around the mineralization that we've got. So probably move the confidence level of our potential, whatever what the JORC resource would come out, move that up the confidence scale, and then potentially go into feasibility at a later date. So we're really we're trying to just really fast track into the development phase, as opposed to poking holes in the ground for exploration.
Not saying anything bad about all you other guys that are doing lots of drilling out there in copper and gold, but this is, and that leads me nicely into, is this a fairly straightforward process to get from that sort of exploration to development to actually the end product? Is it an expensive process? Is it straightforward? What are the challenges, Nic?
I'd love to say it was straightforward, but I'd be called a liar. None of this is straightforward at the end of the day. But compared to other styles of operations, gold or nickel, where you've got huge upfront capex costs, the amount of drilling you've got to go through, the costs involved in that, it's another level altogether. I mean, these are simple. Comparing. Let's look at GMA and RDG. They're using excavators and front-end loaders to dig up dirt and put it through their plant. It's a very simple operation. They're low capex, low opex operations. Mineralization from surface is great, and that's what we've been finding, through our drilling campaign. As this mineralized sand package that I've been talking about. That's most of that's from surface. That's great. That's analogous to GMA and RDG. These are low capex, low opex operations. We're hopeful that we're going to go down the same path. So in a perfect world, we start moving on, we get our offtakes in place, and then we start talking about capital for a plant. And the good thing about this is that for a junior, we're not looking at raising $500 million. We're looking at very modest numbers. I don't want to put a number on it now.
I was going to push him, ladies and gentlemen, but probably not a good idea. It's a bit early.
I might get myself in a bit of strife there. At the end of the day, look, these are very modest operations in comparison to, the plant at RDG, 600 tonnes per hour. I believe the plant at GMA is 300 tonnes per hour. These aren't massive mines, mines or operations. So that's why
they spin out the cash once you start to get going.
In theory, yes. Assuming, that's the plan.
That's the plan. Nic, we're running out of time. One of the things I always end with my beautiful guests is, this is an investor audience looking at you today. You're listed on the ASX. Your code is HVY. I mentioned that at the beginning. This is a mineral sands operation. Garnets, ladies and gentlemen. Who knew? I've learned so much in this conversation. It's fantastic. But I never knew that garnets were used in the way that the end process for this. So 3 reasons why our audience should be sitting up and taking notice of heavy minerals right now.
Okay. I think the first one is that our JORC resource is due in end of Q1. The mineralization that we've seen from the 2021 program, it shows that it's analogous to the GMA and RDG mines, or 2B mines, and that means there's the potential there for a low cost OPEX CAPEX project. Which is fantastic. It's exactly what we were hoping for. And, we're really pushing to rapidly move along the path from explorer to potential developer. So we're really trying to kick some goals for the investors and our shareholders.
Well, they haven't let the grass or the garnets grow under their feet this year. As I said, listed in September, absolutely going gangbusters at the moment. Maiden mineral resource out in March. So plenty of news flow to go. Nic, You'll have to come back once that maiden mineral resource is out and update our audience as to how it's all going, because lots going on at the moment. And I really appreciate your time today.
No, thank you, Kerry. I really appreciate it. And to those investors out there that are our shareholders, thank you very much.
And to the rest of you, ASX code is HVY. Talk to you soon, Nic.
Cheers.